Hey, what's up, everybody? This is JH, and welcome to the Chop It Up Show. Today, I have a pretty dope guest. I'm going to turn it over to him to let him introduce himself, but before he gets into that, Daniel got hits. Just one of my boys. We met at some point last year on the road. I'm speaking, doing my thing, and I actually met Daniel on the plane to go to Miami. And
just off the plane, right?
Just off the plane, you
in
came
Miami,
up and you introduced yourself, and I was like, oh, this kid seems cool. And then I checked out your Instagram and saw you were a crazy freestyler, but there's also like a lot of elements to who you are, what you do, and how you go about your day to day.
Thanks,
man. Tell us a little bit about you, man. But hey, it's good to have you on the show.
For sure, man. Thanks for having me. It's fucking sick to be in Harlem. I can say that. Oh shit. Can I say that? All right, cool.
This is our show, baby.
Yeah. All right. So I guess you did a pretty good intro right there. I appreciate it. I'm a freestyle soccer player. That's like first and foremost. That's kind of the main thing that people know me for, and that was like basically the majority of my early 20s was like focusing heavily on freestyle soccer, competing, traveling the world, going to competitions. In 2012, I was like ranked second in the whole world at freestyle. So that was like the main thing.
And you're from Ireland originally?
So I'm from California originally. My dad's from Ireland. My mom's from Brazil. So like I grew up in San Francisco till I was 10. Then I moved to Brazil. Then we moved to the countryside of Ireland with like we moved to like Rio with like 10 million people, and then we moved to the countryside of Ireland with like literally I would just look around and see sheep all day. Like there was like 1,000 people in the town. Then we moved to Dublin. After I went to college in Dublin, I moved out of home and I just went and did my own thing. But I moved to London, and then like 2.5 years ago I moved to New York.
Wow.
So it's kind of a crazy story, but
that is dope.
Yeah, so freestyle is my main thing, and I always, even when I was doing freestyle at the competitive level, I was training like a long time every day, just like practicing the tricks. And for people that don't know what freestyle is, it's basically just doing the craziest soccer tricks that you can. So it's like a sport with its own set of rules, its own subculture, kind of like within soccer, and some people would say like even separate to soccer. Right. It's almost like Harlem Globetrotters soccer version type thing, so there's no league or anything, but you do battle each other, and there's like these Red Bull competitions and other type of sponsored competitions. So it's almost like a b-boy battle. You just go head to head. I do my tricks, you do your tricks, and then there's like a panel of judges, and they decide who wins and stuff. So
got it.
That was my main thing. And then I always just liked doing YouTube and doing funny videos. So like even though I loved competing, and I loved the kind of like athlete side of it, I always just liked doing funny stuff. Or I'd do like I would always be that guy who was like trying to make people laugh at the events and like bring a little bit of like entertainment to it. And I always remember even in the competitions I would think like I don't really even care about winning this. I just want to be the person that stands out. Whereas when people go home, they're like the crowd or whatever will remember, oh, like that guy was my favorite,
Yeah.
So just bringing like good energy to the stage.
But I'm curious. So at what point did you, because when you enter a competition, it's to win, right? So there had to have been a point where you went from, okay, I'm gonna optimize for being like the comedic relief to I'm gonna win.
Yeah, so I mean, comedic relief is probably like too much on that side. So I wasn't really going for comedic relief, but I was like, yo, everyone else is wearing like soccer clothes. I want to show up like head to toe Bape like outfit, matching like Bape camo and just like crazy hairstyle, and just like steal the attention. Just like before I even do a trick, everyone's like, who the hell is this guy? Like, you know what I mean? So and just kind of being myself. So it wasn't even to make people laugh in terms of that, but more so just to like stand out when everyone's just doing, because a lot of times the tricks to an onlooker, it might look the same. A lot of things, well, okay, they're just doing more stuff with the ball, but oh, this guy looks way cooler. I like what the energy he's bringing. He's like, doing stuff to the song or whatever. So, but yeah, like I think you can't really control whether you win or lose a competition, and you could only control whether you perform, like whether you're present in that moment and like doing your best and like really like showcasing your best that you can do. And if you're worried about making mistakes, because you could drop the ball off the stage and it happens to everyone, right, and you drop that ball, you get a huge like negative score from the judges. It's very hard to recover from it. But if you're thinking like, damn, oh, I hope I don't drop the ball. Okay, I got to play it safe. Don't drop. The more you think about that, the more you're going to make mistakes. You just need to be like in the moment, having fun, and almost just act like you're just training by yourself and having fun. So
So
I never really worried so much. Winning was never like, I did at one point, I did want to be world champion, but it was more of an ego thing. When I look back, it's like, I want to be the world champion, whatever.
Right.
And I got close. I finished second. So, and if people want to go check that out.
How old are you now, Daniel?
I'm 27 now. That was when I was 22, 23, something like that.
Okay.
So,
okay.
But yeah, I always just loved like competing.
So that turned into what Daniel Got Hits became Daniel Got Hits, right? So you do some rap, but break. So here's what I find exciting about this interview, because your persona online, and we'll link it here so we all can see like the quirky kind of funny stuff. So it has a very light kind of feel. Yeah. But from when I met you, and every time we get the chance to hang, which this might be the second or third time or whatever. But there's like actually a nice like a cerebral quality, like almost like a grounded, very deeply. There's a lot of humility you have going on. Like you have a lot of character traits to your game that you're not capturing on digital. And so like talk about that. Like is that's
a really good
intentional or like do you become a person? Like how does that go?
Yeah, that's a really good observation. I don't know. Do you believe in astrology at all or no? Not so much?
Tell me about it.
Well, what's your star sign?
I'm a Capricorn.
Capricorn. Okay, I'm not super well versed on Capricorns. But
he's like, I know my shit.
Right. I know a couple. I just know the ones that are girls I used to date. Yeah, so I'm a Gemini, and Gemini is like, a lot of people say, oh, it's like two-faced or like two-sided, but it's not so much that. It's more so like you really genuinely do have like almost like two people living inside you. So on one hand, I love just being super goofy and like you said, just super light, and like since a kid, like my main thing I always felt like I could relate to was hip hop and hip hop culture, and just like I just always thought like all the rappers I looked up to, it was so entertaining, and like people are so good at just being like larger than life, like Diddy and like all these people, and just everyone just, I like that whole vibe, and I always felt I could relate to it. And I am a bit like that. If you get me in the right mood, I'm just crazy, like exuberant. I'm just all out there. But I also have the other side, which is like, I love just, maybe it's a Saturday night, I'll just sit on my couch just reading a book for like 3 hours, drinking like a tea. And like, that's not the most exciting for Instagram. But I think it was, I kind of picked one. I was like, well, this side of my personality is super good for Instagram. And I know I can like even, it's not like I'm not that person. I am that person, but I'll even further boost it for like Instagram. I'm like, okay, right. I'm like all in as this side of me for this period of time while I'm doing this Instagram video, and I'm just gonna go crazy, and then that's it. And then maybe later in the day I'm like watching a YouTube video like trying to learn more about crypto, and like just drinking a tea, and I'm like, that's not what I want to do on Instagram. I just want to entertain people and keep it pretty lighthearted. And I think people have a pretty like, life is not that easy, and you got a lot of stress, and people have to do a lot of things that they don't like to do. So if I can just be a little spark of like 25 seconds that makes you laugh and just break up the monotony of your day, like I love that. And I love when people say, oh, your video is just like kind of, I was having a bad day and now I'm just like laughing because of that. That's cool. So like I really like that, and just keeping it pretty light and fun.
I love it. And so there's a lot of similarity though to what we do, right? Like I'm an entrepreneur. How do you define, like, what category do you put?
I'm struggling with it at this point. I don't really know. I'm just a human being, but I need to come up with some better way to categorize
however you coin it, right? Like, and it doesn't matter what what space we're in. We all have some fundamental like things that we have to get good at, that we have to overcome, and like, you know what I want to riff on right now? Like I want to riff on the scene as it stands.
Like the social media scene.
Yeah. Like let's just go back and forth, like breaking it down. How is it shaping up? Like, and you know what I'm specifically like into is like our peers. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So like, and I made it a point this week, like I'm having all of my peers stop by, and I feel like I've hit this point where people naturally have like some idolization of the generation that came before us, right? Like they've been around for 20 years longer.
Yeah.
So, Gary's and even rap, Hove and like all these cats and all the greats as we know them for our generation, like had a 20-year, head start, so to speak.
Sure.
They paved the way. We got to stand on their shoulders. But at some point, you got to stop looking to the next person.
Yep.
And like, I don't have, I have very little of that in me naturally these days. And these days, I'm more looking so at my peers. And like I'm drawing admiration and respect from you guys and what you're doing, how I'm doing it. I'm leaning into like who I'm gonna be in the next 20 years, and I feel like, I don't know, that feels like a substantial shift, and I think it's changed my game up to people a lot.
Yeah,
because they've been where we are, and they've been our age, but they've never been our age now.
Mm-hmm.
Shit is different.
Yeah, there's like almost, I feel like sometimes people put too much stock into it's like in that whole vibe of like a cosign from someone or whatever, and it's like, who cares, That's like, I think we're both pretty similar in that, and then maybe that's why you gravitated to that one song, the No Stylist song or whatever, because it's like, I don't need a studio, record my own shit. What are you doing right here? You're recording your own. You don't need a fancy studio. You're just, it's a great setup, don't get me wrong, and it's really professional, but you didn't need to go book a $500 an hour studio in Midtown.
Yeah.
Some people would be like, okay, I want to do a podcast. Okay, so I need to get like this crazy studio, and then I need to get a sponsor, and I need to get this, and it's like, just do it yourself first. If it's good, everything else will come. But they don't want to it's almost like a denial mechanism of like, they don't ever have to start something because it's not the perfect situation for it or whatever.
And to add to that, like I'm literally just coming from a TV production. So like I closed a TV deal. So that's what I'm like. Yeah. That's what I love about the push and pull. Like I got the deal.
Yeah.
But I'm still also in the same day, I'm doing my own shit.
Exactly.
Right. Like I'll never, like I feel like the golden thing about our era, what makes our era the golden one, is precisely that like production has been democratized, so we can all do it and whatever you do. But let's go back to the scene.
I love that. Yeah.
So that was my tone setting for maybe the rest of this conversation or whatever. But like, I love and respect my peers. But let's talk about the scene. How do you see it evolving? Like, when did you get in this scene? Like,
right.
When did you decide that you were going to make Instagram a thing? And how did you go, talk about that?
Right. So I always been into Instagram since, I guess, it came out. Like, I think my first post was like 2012 or whatever, 2013. Actually, it was 2013. I don't even know if Instagram was out 2012, but probably. But I got it in 2013. And for the first like 2 years, it was probably just like everyone else's Instagram, just like photo of like a sunset somewhere, and you're just like putting a crappy filter on it, like Valencia filter, and just like post it. But I guess maybe about 3 years ago, I started just, I don't even know, like people always ask me, what was the moment that like boosted your Instagram, or how did you start growing? And it's like, until this summer, there never really was a crazy boost. It was just like very gradual from like 0 to like 90K. It was very gradual. Just soccer fans.
19 or 90?
90. So
okay.
90. So it's just like soccer fans, or I would just doing my own thing. I probably got like 10 or 15,000 from originally just from like that core freestyle soccer community who like everyone knew me. So that was like my main bread and butter fan base, right? So at the start, it was very niche to like freestyle soccer, and then I would just keep doing stuff. The more you post like videos, people would be like, oh, I like soccer, those tricks are cool, I'll follow, whatever.
You get more casual people on top.
Yeah, more casual people. And then I guess about 1 year ago, I was like, man, I'm gonna just start really just producing a lot of stuff and just making funny videos and not really worrying too much. That's one thing I think is good about you too, is like you don't seem to overthink like what you're posting, because you post quite a few things. And I think it's always better to just like post too much than too little. It's like, who cares? Just post a bunch of shit. Because sometimes we think, oh, like, I know for myself, sometimes I'll post a video that I wasn't even going to post. It's maybe like an 8-second thing that just happened on the street. Right. Like I just like kicked the ball through some dude's legs on the street. And it's just like literally on an iPhone, filmed from like Michael's hand or someone else filming, just like that. And then it'll get like 1 million views. And it's like, what? How the hell did I get 1 million views? Like, I wasn't even going to post that. And then you could be out here going to like a crazy location and doing all this crazy stuff. Yeah. And like trying to like manufacture this insane viral video. Yo, I'm going to parachute off the fucking Brooklyn Bridge. Yeah. And like, it doesn't do anything. Flops. Next thing you just, like literally anything. I remember in the summer, that was one of the main steps I took. It was about 6 months ago, I knew Michael. He's a freestyler as well, a really good freestyler. He was living in Minnesota, and like I was like, bro, he's like a great like videographer and like director and everything, and his YouTube like videos and his channel, everything's crazy. And I was like, dude, I already knew him from freestyle, and I was like, dude, I wanted someone to just who I can count on to help me film a lot of stuff and just be around, not necessarily like full time every single day, but if we could live in the same place and just like hustle it out, and we'll work out something. So we did that. And so now I have Mike to kind of lean on to help like film. So I wake up, be like, all right, man, let's just go film. Yo, Tekashi 6ix9ine, I want to do like a 6ix9ine prank. So I don't need to like waste all that time, like, you know yourself, of trying to find someone to help you film. It's like they're just right there. All right, let's go. So we've been a lot more productive that way. And then over the summer, it was a crazy viral streak where like I went from 95K to like 140 in like 3 weeks. It was just crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, because I didn't know.
Yeah,
it went crazy. I did this one video of, I don't know, do you know the soccer player called Neymar?
Yeah.
Have you heard of it? So like, so.
Oh, I saw them.
Yeah, with the noodles.
Was that when you started scaring people?
That was the Cristiano Ronaldo one. Yeah, so it was like World Cup.
We gotta show that.
Yeah, you can show 'em. But it was World Cup season. So for soccer content, I hate that word, content creator, but for a soccer content creator, the World Cup is like
Holy Grail.
Yeah, it's like if you do like American, like NFL videos, and it's like Super Bowl week or whatever, like you just got to go hard that week. It's like so much stuff happening. So I was just doing like little, you know, kind of like parody videos of like the top players dressing up like with their exact like jerseys, and like Neymar had like this hairstyle that everyone was clowning because it looked like ramen noodles. So I was like, bro, I should just buy ramen noodles, just tape them to my head in like the most basic ugly ass way. So I just taped all these ramen noodles on top of my head, and then I was just like going around doing stuff. And he flops a lot, so I was just doing like, you know, flopping. Like I was like touching random people on the street and just like flopping, and it got so viral that people were sending me clips of this video on TV in like Indonesia, like Mongolia. My grandmother in Brazil, like it was sent to her by one of her 70-year-old friends, and like she didn't even know that she was sending it to my grandmother. It was going so viral. So that's the most viral video I ever did. But like that day, around those days, like there was one video I posted. It was just me taking the ramen noodles off my head, and that got like 1.2 million. It was just like a 20-second clip of just me taking ramen noodles off my head, and they were all just like ripping off my head. I was just on the street, and that's it. I didn't even speak, and it got like 1.4 million.
And when you get those viral pops, like people just follow you?
Yeah, you get the viral pop. Like it's kind of crazy because in a way, it's almost like, damn, I feel like I could have even got more followers out of that, because I got like I gained like 50,000 followers, but the views were crazy. Like every single day, it was like a 1 million view video, like every day for like 2 weeks. But yeah, I guess people just follow you, and you got all that traffic coming in. So if you just keep it consistent, and then after that, it was a really stressful summer. So I took a little 1 month break. We traveled around Europe. I went to visit my family in Ireland, and like I don't know about you, I think you're maybe like this too, but I'm totally fine with. Like, I don't let Instagram, like, control my life, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't care about the people say, well, you have to post every day or you'll lose momentum or this or that. It's like, I don't care. I'll get it back. Like, it's more important. If I don't feel like doing a video for a month, I won't do a video for a month. You know what I mean? Because on the other end, I might post, like, 6 a day for, like, 3 weeks straight or some crazy shit. So, I don't know. I'm kind of extreme like that one way or the other. But, yeah, just whenever I don't feel like posting, I just don't post. So, I don't know. Maybe it's not the best way to grow Insta, but, like, that's not, you know, my be all and end all of my life is not to just grow Insta. So, yeah.
Right. Word. Wow. That's a hell of like
random.
You know, that was a hell of like a dissection of how, you know, the audience grew. You know, I found it interesting. It was like you started with like a niche, you know, probably highly loyal like base and really casual people, and then you start getting the fun shit in there and some of the music, and then you hit the pop.
Yep, that's it for sure. It's like a big. That's the thing when some people like will, you know, recognize me or see me out or something, and they'll talk to me. Oh shit, then I got hits, and it's so random because they'll be like, some kid will be like, yo, I love your like, I listen to all your shit, and then like they don't even mention soccer at all. And then some people will be like, yo, like you like I learned soccer stuff because of you, this that, and then like some people are like, yo, your shit is so funny, da da da. So it's like really random. Like I never know what exactly. Which fans are from which stuff. I just, like I said one time, I think it was at the Miami event that we were both, you know, speaking at on the panel, but I said you know, I don't know why people always keep segregating their interests or their talents into like, yo, I'm a law student, so that means I can't post my comedy on my account, or like I'm into real estate, so I can't post my comedy shit on this channel. I need a separate Instagram page. Oh, and now I just got into like martial arts. I need a separate page for my martial arts. Like, why? Because my fans they're not gonna like this content, that content. It's like, all right, fucking let them unfollow you. Who cares? Like, why just do what you want to do and let people who like it, and if they don't, then you shouldn't really care about having them as a fan anyway. If they're just so narrow-minded that they can only like this exact thing, it's like, that's not going to benefit you in the long run anyway, having them as a fan. You're just going to keep like catering to people. You can't be catering to everyone. You just got to do what you want and let people like it or not. That's it.
That's bars right there.
Bars.
So now one thing I think a lot about too is like, where do people our age, like where do we take shit from here, right? Like in some respects I feel like this whole thing is just starting out, but one of the advantages I feel I've had in my game is that I am nurturing like a business savvy. And so, you know, for me, IG and making content on social, like it's something I do because like these conversations, you know, we're chilling here, we're talking shit for an hour. Whoever wants to watch the whole thing can watch the whole thing. Right. You know, but I have like some easy format where I could just like find little snippets and moments of us like riffing or me saying something or you saying something, and like I want to build a massive fucking archive of a ton of content, because I think it's pretty cool, like to think of, man, what if you could watch like Hove when he was on the come or whomever, crazy. You know? Yeah. And so
and there will be people, if you do enough of these podcasts, there will be a couple people in there who will just
exactly.
You'll be like, damn, that's what they were like 10 years ago.
Yeah. And I'm planning to be that. And so like I want to chronicle my own journey. But I don't know, man, like where does it go? Being in this scene, you know, for me, I'm like using this and leveraging bigger opportunities. But you know, I love connecting with the people, so I'll always do it, whatever the medium is. Yeah. But you know, in your case specifically, as an example, like what's the end game? Right? Like, are you trying to get a deal? Are you trying to, with a record label, are you trying to like be an endorsed entertainer? Do you end up hosting a show for like Vice or like some interesting like network? We talked a little bit about them and it sounded like you had some context, so maybe you looked into that. What's the other side?
I'm running for president, bro.
So you know what I'm saying? Like
Kanye.
because you've built such an eclectic fan base, which is what you talked about earlier, and I think that is 100% your strength. But because you've done that, how do you like materially take that, you know, in a direction?
Yeah, that's a great question. I struggle with that for sure, like a lot, you know, trying to figure out the next direction. Sometimes I'm a bit too, okay, I want to do this and let me do that and do that. And over the years, I've gradually learned to just like force myself into like one path at a time and like finish what you start type of thing. Yeah. Because I would always be like, I got this idea. Let me do this, that. But yeah, I think that when I was younger, like I would have said, yo, I'm going to just blow up with whatever I'm doing, but like music, and I'm going to be touring the world, and I'm going to be like crazy rich, like music, like rapper, artist, like just doing all that shit, and like just literally like world famous like rapper. And like over the years, I've been like, okay, that's not materializing, but I'm not going to like see that as necessarily a bad thing, because sometimes I think, well, maybe I don't really want to do that. Maybe I just want. So like I've learned that like it doesn't really matter as long as I'm enjoying my life as it goes, and like learning to just appreciate the process, because I have fun with everything I'm doing still. I never feel like I'm doing any, I don't feel like I'm doing like stuff I don't want to do. So in a way, and I could have signed certain deals with labels like a couple of years ago when I had the first songs bubbling out. I had some meetings. That was even when I was living in London, and I was just looking at some of the deals and like the contracts and stuff, and I just felt like I knew like that if I signed, it would be like I'd be basically at the whim of these like labels. Absolutely. And like I couldn't like just and also like a lot of the contracts were crazy. It was just like 25-year contract and this and that, and we own all other facets of like entertainment and this and that, and it would like include my soccer shit and this and that, and I could just tell like I'm pretty good at spotting people. Like it was a lot of people who were like, yo, like I'm gonna make you like the biggest star, like I'm gonna make you a millionaire, this, that. And I'm like, I don't think like the people who talk like that are the right people to trust. Like I didn't feel the right trust from any of the label situations. So I was like, I don't care. I'm just going to keep doing my own thing. And like, I'm pretty happy that I didn't at this point, because you see so many artists who start out promising and they get stuck in a label deal and then they can't get out of it. And meanwhile, the label is prioritizing everyone else except them, and they can't release any music, and it just gets crazy. But to answer your question of where I see it going is like, I agree with you. I think the social media stuff is pretty kind of fickle and like not really substantial in a way. And like the algorithm changes. Now what? Your whole all your work's just down the drain or whatever. It's or Instagram is not the thing in like 2 years. You got to start all over again. So I think that it's, like you said, it's important to like leverage it into other stuff. So at the moment, I'm just trying to like use Instagram to just get my name out there, get my face out there, and keep building up an audience, because I think an audience of people who know you and like you,
they'll follow you
is
anywhere.
Always valuable.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing at this point. But definitely like the brand deals. I've been doing some cool brand deals recently. I want to keep doing those, and just keep putting money away, saving money, and hopefully leverage into something else like down the line.
To that thing you said, like you were talking about the label industry. So I feel in the past year, I've kind of formally broken into the entertainment industry, and it's crazy because the contracts legit are like that. Like the contracts are like, you know, you feel like a very harsh kind of temperament towards talent, you know?
Yeah, the wording in the contracts is really crazy. It's like they own your life.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
And they want like, it's like, you know, they want exclusivity. That, you know, it feels it can feel pretty intense. But what keeps the carrot dangling is like the upside, the potential upside of landing in a place where you feel it's a good place for you, you know, and like genuinely understanding your role. Like, you know, I've mentioned it a few times, and I can't speak much about it on camera, but I've cut a TV deal, and I'll be hosting a show for a network. And, you know, I feel good about where we've landed. It's taken a long time, hard-fought deal. And also when it came my way, by the way, I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. You know, it came, it's like, hey, you want to be on TV? I was like, yeah, I guess. You know, I was like doing my shit. I was running a fucking not-for-profit incubator. And like, it was one of those things where it was so minimal effort like low effort to keep going, because I wasn't the one like, you know, really driving it. So I was like, yeah, okay, cool. And over time it started like materializing, and then, you know, we went through the baby steps. Before we knew, we had a sizzle reel. Before we knew, we took that to market. We had some interest, you know, and we shot the pilot. Then we went through the grueling period of after you deliver a pilot, like you're at the mercy of the network if they're going to pick up whatever. We ended up on the right side of that. And now I'm looking at it and I'm like, this, like the past 2 weeks for me in particular, man, have been like a very interesting time in my life and my psyche, because I'm spending a lot of time alone, and like I'm just kind of mentally preparing for what I feel has the potential to come. Right. You know, or it's coming either way, and like we'll see how it shakes out. But and I'm gonna love flashing back to this moment. This is why we do these.
This will be a good comeback. Yeah.
You know, but you know, it's feeling like, okay, I feel like I'm now about to experience the potential upside where I've landed in a place. I like the distribution. I like the audience in place. Yeah. It's going to fan the flames tremendously. Yeah. But here is like, you want to talk about some gripes. Some gripes that I have is like, in this influencer industry, bro, this shit is weird. Like, yeah, I feel like influencers get pimped out, and like these brands and agencies, they've established a precedent with talent. You know, they say, oh, you know, we pay you X amount per 2 posts, and, you know, depending on your reach, which by the way is really weird. Like when I was negotiating a deal with this agent, and I was like, no, I'm worth X. And she's like, no, you're worth Y. Yeah. And I was like, no. Yeah. And she's like, well, your follower account is this. And I was like, do you understand? Like, I don't subscribe. Yeah. I don't monetize my value as a person based on my follower count. Like, I was like, girl, you're tripping. Yeah. So, and, you know, when I push back like that, then, you know, I understand there's an actual market that's being slowly established. And she's like, well, hey, you know, this is the precedent that we have. And I was, in that moment, I understood why Hove, when he came in the game, made Rockefeller. Because he was like, He was a cat who came into the scene and had business savvy.
Yeah.
And was like, oh, I see what's going on here.
Yeah.
You know, and so
he was just replicating like the drug game, like with the records.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah. But he knew how to like leverage what he had and just
So in this influencer space, it's just interesting to me because a lot of folks, what they'll do is I found is they'll be like, okay, cool, I get paid to be on Instagram. Yeah, all right. And like they become yes men and yes women.
Yeah, sure. Give me $50 to post this fucking tea thing.
Yeah. And like before you know it, or you know, make it more realistic. Like, all right, yeah, give me 2.5 G's, give me 5 G's, even give me 10 G's. Like whatever the amount of money, let's say, you know, really is you being a yes man because you know they're selling image, they're selling their likeness. These agencies are running ads against audiences using your face without you being able to see who they're marketing to. I was fundamentally not okay with that. I was scrolling on Instagram, right? I was scrolling on Instagram and I saw an ad of myself that I didn't run and the copy I didn't type.
No way. And that was something that you just...
I get heated. I called the... What? I called the phone. Was like, I pulled the plug. I was like, this is worth no amount of money to me. Like, like in order for anything to be out there, it needs to be in my own words. Like, you can't just use my image. And
that's pretty crazy.
So, like...
That's like those Gary Vee things where he's like, every once in a while, he'll post it and be like, yo, this ebook course is not me. They're using my picture. Fuck them. Like... Right. Yeah.
And so, anyway, it's like... I'm learning a lot in this game because there's a scene that's maturing, and I want to hear your thoughts. I'll end with this. Like, for me, it's been absolutely invaluable for me to carve those lines and be like, that's not how I do my shit.
100%.
And I realized that in order for you to actually say that with any kind of balls, then you can't be completely reliant on that stream.
Exactly.
When you're completely reliant, it's golden handcuffs.
Exactly.
You're fucked.
Because you're like, that's my only source of income. I need to take it, whatever.
That's why I started buying real estate.
Yeah.
That's why, you know what I'm saying, I do a little bit of speaking. I do, you know, I got into TV just now. I'm doing podcasts. Like, I do what I can to diversify.
Yeah. And when you don't rely on it, you could be like, fuck y'all. Like, legit. Yeah, you can just be like, I don't want to do that. Exactly. And then you don't, it's not even a negotiation. You're just like, I just don't want to do it.
I don't want to do it.
I'm not even doing it.
And bro, do you know how much like more value you have in the market when you can do that?
They're like, wait, he doesn't want to do it? Why? I don't get it. Why doesn't he want to do it? It's like, because I don't want to do it. It doesn't sound like, you know, like maybe in terms of what you were talking about, it's like not on par with what you see or your level of integrity with your own stuff. But it could also be other reasons, right? It could just be like the money's too low. They just don't want to come up to an acceptable amount that's worth what you're going to bring to the table. So. Right. You know, if like you said, if it was the only thing you're relying on, you kind of got to be like, shit, like, all right, well, maybe, and you do stuff that you don't really want to do. But if you're not 100% relying on it, you could just be like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. So like you said, it does. Yeah. Because then when if they do get their act together or they do come around next time and they're like, you know, you get what you pay for. They're going to get some people who might not bring as much value as you would have. Yeah. And then they're going to be like, well, that wasn't really that good. We should have just got John. Like, maybe instead of paying 3 people X amount each, we should have just got the whole thing and
we should have fucked with JH.
Right, JH. Get you back on the phone. So,
but the wild thing for me, though, is like, as you say that, it makes me think of something. It's like, oh, by default, you know, the amount of people that say yes, like, are in a category. It's almost like by you being intentionally like outside of where most people are, that means that your viewpoint is differentiated, right? And like that makes you inherently more valuable. Like if everyone, you know, is doing the same thing, like it's like the artist that's different. Like, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. People are going to gravitate towards it.
That's actually really true. That's something I always think of as well. I'm always like, okay, there's a lot of people that do soccer stuff on Instagram. But I'm always like, yo, the thing is, all the soccer people, they've been like molded into this thing of like, I can't curse, I can't do this, I need to be perfectly PG, like every brand won't work with me. Oh my God, even if I just look different, like a lot of people would always tell me, yo, you can't, like, why are you dyeing your hair? Like you're limiting your brand thing, this, I'm not, and I would say, well, if a brand isn't going to do something with me because I have blue hair, then I don't really give a fuck. Like, but like,
and plus it might be yellow tomorrow knowing you.
Yeah, exactly. It might be like, I've had the craziest shit, like pink hearts in my hair, all this type of stuff. But like they're too boxed in to see it. Like I was looking at it from a hip hop, like a rap perspective of like, you could look as crazy as you want, and if you have enough numbers and you got enough views, even the most corporate brand, Sprite is endorsing rappers right now, like hardcore. These rappers are on Instagram sipping lean today and smoking weed and like literally at the strip club on their Instagram story. And then the next day their Sprite commercial is airing on like national TV. Wow. If that doesn't like give an indication of like where the brands are at these days, I don't know what else does. Because 10 years ago, the brands Sprite would not do a commercial. Like what I think is the brands are actually like, what did you say? Pimping out? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I think they're really pimping out a lot of like hip hop culture and just like the trends that start in hip hop, like all of the dances, like Hit the Folks, right? Ayo and Teo, and the dances and like the Backpack Kid, like the Flossin' dance and all that shit.
Yeah.
All the stuff that's just happening, like 12-year-old kids in Atlanta making up these like dope fucking dances. Like it bubbles up so much and it gets really trendy, and that's cool because it's just like organic in that world of like other dancers will dance to it. I might do a soccer video and dance because I love to dance, but I'm not like, it's not a sponsored video. Like then Sprite will just go and take it, or whatever brand. I don't want to pick out Sprite because like whatever brand will just take that and start.
They just scratch you off their list, by the way.
Right. Sorry, Sprite. But I see like sponsored like promoted tweets, and it's like Geico or something, and it's like a kid doing like the Flossin' dance or whatever, and it's like something. They even said the word flossin' in it, and I'm like, damn. That kid who made that dance up is like, his name is the Backpack Kid. Shout out to him. But like, he's not getting paid from Geico. But he, like, it's almost like they don't care. They definitely didn't care about minorities at all, right?
Right.
Like 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 40 years ago, and now all of a sudden they're like, oh, hip hop is really cool and people like it, and white America likes this. So now let's just take fucking everything and like just use that as our marketing. And in 10 years when hip hop's not cool again, or if it comes back to a different cycle, we'll just switch right off it again and just forget about it. So I know it's kind of weird for me to say that as a white dude. It's kind of like,
it doesn't strike me as weird at all.
Right. It's just kind of, that's just how I feel about it. It's just like, I feel like they're kind of just, I don't know. But it also gave me confidence of like, okay, well, the brands clearly don't care about, you need to have this like clean image if they're endorsing all rappers and stuff. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna just be myself now, because for a while, like a couple of years ago, I would always hold back a little bit. I would be like, maybe try not to curse, or maybe keep my appearance more like normal. Be like, I have a commercial shoot coming up in a month, so I won't change my hair color because but then eventually I was like, man, this is not fun for me. Like I need to just be myself. So I'm just going to be myself, and I'm just going to trust that I will, that it will work out. And actually the reverse happened. I started getting more stuff because, like you said, it's different. People are like, okay, let's just go with this guy's cool. Like, so
you said some interesting shit. You said, you talked about that whole brand situation. Like, yo, brands for real are like, capitalizing on the culture in that way. Yeah. Right. Like Nike and Cap. Lot to dissect there. I'm not saying that, in many respects, like what I appreciate is that Colin's making his bread, and like they took a bold stance, and they went political with it. Nike went political with the ad. They politicized themselves in the marketplace and took a firm stand, and they knew it was going to alienate them, and then they strengthened their brand equity elsewhere. Yeah. But to your point, like, okay, brands are intentionally doing this. So for me, it's all about like, okay, well, how do I want to play it? Exactly. Like, how do you play that? Because for me, like being a player, in the game, in this scene, what, I call entrepreneurship, you call music, it's whatever the fuck it is, like just making your own way. What I feel like you have to do is be responsive. You got to be responsive to what the fuck is going on. Yeah. Right. And so, but you also got to be, looking out for what's going on and just staying astute. Right. And so you call this out, this brand. So these brands capitalizing on culture. So now you got to decide, well, all right, well, how are you going to respond to that? Like, you have like my brother Sean King, who, takes to, journalism, and like, he's highlighting the social inequities and police brutality piece. And like, that's his way to do it. Like, what's going to be your way to respond to all the changes going on? And for me, my stance is like, okay, I'm going to, while being myself, while not compromising myself and being distinct and bold with who I am. And people know when they hire me to speak, like, I'm going to curse. Some brand was mad at me one time, and I was like,
You didn't do your research, right? They didn't do their research.
I was like, yo, you brought me in, like I'm just gonna be me now.
Yeah.
So as long as I don't compromise myself and stay true to who I feel I am, whatever brands want to work with me, even though I know that corporate gimmicks, at the same time, I also know that we have 15 minutes of fame. And now, but that 15 minutes could be 20 years.
Right.
You know, if you're Hove.
Yeah.
You know, it all depends on how gravity defined you are, which speaks to your ability to reinvent. But for me, I kind of want to step into that heat wave. And I don't feel I'm there yet.
Yeah.
But I feel like early 2019 when the show pops, like I have a lot of things right now that are catching hold. It's coming. And I know that a lot of my fan base might listen to me and say like, yo, I feel like JH is there, but I don't feel I'm there.
Right.
Like I'm gonna know when I step into that.
And even when you are there, you'll probably still feel like you're not there.
Yeah. But when I step into that, like my goal is just I want to be as gravity defying as possible, stretch that window up, play with time, stay in the pocket for as long as I can. Right. And like one of the things that come natural to me, like we all have talents. Like I can't fucking juggle, soccer ball and do a lot of shit that you do.
Yeah.
But one of the things that come natural to me is like I have a naturally business inquisitive kind of mind. So can I extract a ton of value from all this? You know what I'm saying? Like, build my shit.
Stick it in the pocket.
And invest in, like, I want to circulate it. Because you realize like money for me is not about the accumulation of it and hoarding it. It's about the circulation, my friend. And like if you figure out how to be valuable to the point where you can bring more into your, then you got to circulate it. How? By, you have a production, like me and Jeffrey shoot video, we do this, we do that, like we're doing content, like all this stuff costs money, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
for sure.
This is how I choose to circulate my shit.
Yeah, back into yourself, just reinvesting into yourself.
Into content, into Harlem Capital, we invest in other entrepreneurs.
Sure, the incubator and all that. Yeah.
However it is that you want to choose to express it. So that's the way that I'm kind of choosing to fight my battle. That's kind of like the lane that I want to carve.
Yeah, that's super smart, man. I think that's great.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we could all play it one way or another, but that's how I'm feeling.
No, that's dope.
So you got new music coming out? Like what you got?
Yeah, I'm just working on stuff. I'm always working on music, but like I'm the way it's going these days is like I'm trying to just do whatever's gonna get the most like return for the time spent, like the 80-20 type shit, where it's like I can go out there with my phone and with Michael helping me film, and we could just knock out some stuff that takes like an hour, and it just gets like tens and tens of thousands of views, maybe over 100,000, a million sometimes. And it's like, or I can go to all this trouble recording and finishing a song and then doing a music video and then put the music video on YouTube, and it will get way less than like the fucking random video on the street. And I just feel like that's what people are wanting right now, is just like that raw content of like me going on the street, just doing some wild shit and maybe like scaring some old people behind me or something. They're like, oh, what the hell is this guy? Like just funny stuff, and just like kind of just larger than life stuff on Instagram, but like real though, like real raw. Like you see my videos not edited. It's not, there's no high production value. It's just literally off a phone, and that's like on purpose. So that's what I'm basically just focusing on right now. So the last month or two, I've just been radio silence because I just moved into a new apartment and there was some complications with it, but it finally sorted out. There was just like, some paperwork stuff, and
the kid is back.
Right, so I'm back now. So like, also this is like, now it's like me and Michael have our own apartment that we're just living in, so we can just do whatever we want all day, and just turn that into a little hub like you got going on here. Because my last spot, I had other roommates, and there was, you know how it goes. I know how it goes. So you can't really, it's not really your spot. You can't just be like at 3 a.m. in the living room just editing a video loud as fuck, just doing whatever you want, right? So like you have to just be mindful. So now I think it's gonna be a good like foundation to just keep doing stuff. But yeah, the main thing right now is just keep doing crazy videos, and just I've forced myself just be like, all right, this is working, just ignore everything else and just do that. Like triple down on whatever's working. Because if I grew from 90 to 150 in like 3 weeks in the summer, I could probably go from 150 to 1 million in the next year if I feel like it and I really put in the work. So I don't know, hopefully in a 12 months time, I'll be maybe up around like close to 1 million or something. That's like the rough plan. And like you said, and like we said earlier, just, use that to like put into other things.
Other shit. You can come out with a soccer ball line.
Exactly.
Yo, you guys heard it here first
exclusive. JH exclusive. Drop a bomb on him. You need to get your own like fucking funk flex shit up here. Like,
I love that shit. You know, was in hip hop all the time. The
Yeah, that would be funny. You should get some crazy like sound effects and stuff. Yeah.
Yo, I've been wanting to do this for a long time, actually. So I'm super stoked that you had a chance to come on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
And like, I'm actually curious to see how our audiences are gonna interact. Too.
Yeah. It's pretty. It's gonna be pretty interesting.
It'll be a very interesting mold because I'm gonna walk away with some like
soccer
freestyle
kids.
fans, and
I'm gonna walk away with like
business fans.
entrepreneur like startup founders.
Yo,
nice.
Much love for you, man. I appreciate you. By the way, one thing that I always remember is when we were in Miami, like we went on like a little workout.
The workout, man, that was so fun.
We just like,
yeah.
And like Daniel was like, you were like, yo, let's just run around.
Pull-ups and shit, push-ups.
There was a moment too where you're like, yo, I don't know about you, man, but sometimes like I just like hugging trees, man.
Oh yeah.
Because they feel really grounded. And I was like, I kind of felt like doing it in that moment. And I did. And like, that's what I love about you is like just free spirited, man. And it's actually really just rejuvenating to be around. You know what I'm saying? It kind of makes you break out of your own shit sometimes. Because like for as trailblazing as I feel I am, and maybe we might feel we are, like we all have, you know what I'm saying? Like
we get into our own little routines and our own little walls. And sometimes you gotta just meet some random person. They say something, and you're like, same for you. You might say something, and I'm like, wow, that just crushed one of my limiting beliefs right there. So you know what I mean? Like you're like, okay, damn, I guess I'll try that. So no, it's cool, man. Thanks a lot. Likewise. Word. Yeah.
Thanks.
Dope, man. Hey, Harlem Capital gang, we out here.
Peace.
Treyway.